Peace, family. We out here, man, in these cold New York streets, man. I haven't done a video on the street in a while. You know, when you out of town, you want to see New York. So let me just show the family real quick. We bought at Barclays,
Indeed.
Downtown Brooklyn.
We're in the borough.
I want to let the family see.
Flatbush Avenue,
You
Brooklyn, New York. Rest in peace, Poop Man.
You see, we got 19 keys out here in New York.
It's a blessing to be out here.
Welcome to the show, family. Welcome to the show. Listen, I want to do a great show with y'all today about this product that everybody keeps talking about, and that product is Goldwater.
Cheer.
I haven't been privy to try the gold bottle. I remember the blue one you had, and you know, I told the family how great it worked for me.
Yeah, we got the upgrade.
Y'all got the upgrade.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Before we even go into the product, can I get a little? Cause I've been kicking it with Billy Carson a lot, man.
Shout out to Billy Carson.
We've been doing lectures together, and he's been talking about the history of gold. So I want to talk to y'all about the history of gold. Gold is something that, you know, we see in movies, we see in rap music, we see everywhere. We see on our necks. Some people wear it in their mouths. You know, it's just all over.
Right.
So talk to me about this element gold that is like the symbol of wealth on earth.
Gold has always, if you go back thousands and thousands and thousands upon years into history, and you understand even the extraction process that it takes to actually make gold, you have to understand that prehistoric people were mining gold not so that they can wear it as trinketry and jewelry. They were wearing it and mining it for its metaphysical properties and for its healing properties.
Right, it's medicinals.
That is why it's always been so valuable throughout time. So when you go into ancient cultures and you say, how the hell was they mining gold? For one, we think that when you go look for gold, it just automatically appears as a shiny nugget. That's not always the case. There's a process to getting it to where it is. So these ancient people are learning a science so that they can not just stumble upon gold, but really go into mining and then using their resource. You're talking about a people where history will tell you that most of the things that they did was just for survival. So they were doing this for thriving and tapping into that godly potential.
Right. And because there's only a limited amount of gold on this particular planet, then it spawned an entire new science, which was alchemy. You feel me? Where the scientists of that day took a particular approach towards turning one metal into another. Can you speak about the origins of gold? I think that's more so what he was speaking about.
So gold is actually formed from a collision of neutron stars. Peace, God. And from that forming of the stars is where you actually get the gold that comes out, where that mineral is formed. So that's the reason that there's only a limited amount, because we only got a limited amount from those stars that release the gold into Earth. But you have to understand that our cosmic existence and our DNA, we are born with 0.02% of gold within our body.
Facts.
Now, scientists have found out that why is gold in the body in the first place? They started to study this. And in their studies, they basically said that it's because it has to electrify the body and electrify the nerve ending and the circuitry within your body and its anti-inflammatory properties, which is very important when you understand inflammation and all of the different things that it can cause. You understand me? So understanding, reconnecting the amount of gold within your body, because when you ingest gold, you pass it through, right? So you're talking about increasing the amount of gold in your body at a particular point in time so that you become more electrified. So if you have 0.02%, but at the same time, ancient people, you have to understand that we have different diets than ancient people.
Right.
Ancient people ate food, everything was organic. You understand me? All the food that they ate had light from the sun in it. All of it was electrical.
Even the ducks.
Yes.
Gluten-free? Gluten-free?
Completely gluten-free. But see, that's so important because you have to understand their absorption and how their bodies was a lot more electrical than ours are. So when they had that gold in the body, it was working and doing a lot more than it was what it would be doing for us today, because we have a lot more rusty bodies. You understand me? Because all the food that we eat doesn't have the sun in it. We are over chemicalized society and we are under mineralized bodies.
Right, they had different pipings. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting, all of these ancient civilizations that they go into, they uncover the piping and the irrigation systems. You know, and even those piping and irrigation systems look totally different than the piping and irrigation systems that you find today.
Right.
You ain't gonna find what you find in these ancient civilizations, which you'll find in Flint.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have the same sort of corrosion and water, you know, contaminated waters going through it.
It's different
and it's
water.
just like their bodies. Their bodies didn't have the same level of contaminants and water flowing through it. So the conductivity factor was even greater. Hence the fact that you
Yes.
see monolithic structures and everything
Yes.
else that people want to credit to off-planet entities is because the intelligence and the electrical conductivity was totally different, and these light sentient bodies enabling them to tap into different parts of their potentiality.
And light carries information. So when your body is electrified with that light, that allows one to take their thoughts, because everything around us is light, right? So light communicates with light. So when you have something in the darkness of your mind that you want to pull out, you have to bring it into light. So scientists have found that the mind can literally manipulate matter and light energy around us. But if your mind is not tapped in and that pineal gland is rusty and it's decalcified and you can't use it,
Calcified.
it's calcified, you have to decalcify it. You understand me? Utilizing that electricity. So let's talk about some of the testimonials and the effects that people say that they have once they ingest this gold water, because this is important. Some people will claim that my IQ increased. Now, a person will be like, how the hell does ingesting gold make your IQ increase? Well, it's not the fact that it's directly you drink it and you get smarter. It's a byproduct of the fact when it electrifies your body, you understand me, it affects the hippocampus area of your brain. Now, after 25, the way you learn changes. Scientists used to say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
And that's a lie.
And that's a lie. And then they went and found out that no, it's just a different way you have to learn after 25. You understand me? So after 25, when your brain changes, in order for things to get into that hippocampus area of your brain when you can learn something new, you have to exercise. They say sex is good for it. They say red wine is good for it. Many different things. So this has an effect on the brain. So you talking about somebody who's reading.
We're talking neuroplasticity?
Neuroplasticity.
Yes.
You're talking about somebody who's reading, but they can't retain all the information because they're not creating those same neural connections that they would have before the age of 25.
Right.
So that sharpness level gets to go down. Also, because it regulates mood, you're talking about people who become more stressed. Cortisol levels start to raise, and now the intelligence level starts to go down because of that. So a person saying that my IQ increased, what they really talking about is the effects that the decalcification starts to process in the pineal gland, because that's also directly connected to the hippocampus area. So as you electrify, that area particularly also connects to melatonin. Melatonin is induced so you can go into a deeper sleep. So when you go into a deeper sleep during the waking hours that you up, your brain is always compiling, what's the word I'm looking for? Through the ridges of your brain during the waking hours, it starts to pull over.
And it washes the brain.
Yeah, it has a brain wash, but it's a particular word that I was looking for. Anyway, during the time that you up, your brain has to actually wash over, you know what I mean, everything that compiles over your brain as you awake. That's the reason that we actually need sleep. Some people talk about not getting enough sleep, but sleep is a very important, and a lot of the problems that a lot of people have is they're not sleeping properly, they're not breathing properly, and they're not drinking enough water.
Facts.
You understand me? These are all things necessary that connect you and have your body in proper function.
These are the basics.
These are the basics.
Right.
So once you get into that deep sleep and your brain secretes that fluid over the ridges of your brain, you can wake up properly refreshed.
Right. Proper brainwash.
Yeah, so when you sleep during your waking hours, your brain is not going to connect the dots. You have to go to sleep so it can connect the information that you learn through the day and process it. So you have to understand that why come I done read thousands of books? How come I done met thousands of people, had all these memories of experience, but I can't pull that to the prefrontal cortex of my brain to actually utilize that information? So when you get that proper sleep and you wake up well rested, now your brain is no longer foggy. It's ready to go.
Right.
You have to understand, why do people wake up and their brain is still foggy? Isn't that the reason you went to sleep, so you can wake up clear? You understand me? But now you got to go drink coffee so your brain can feel like it's refreshed. For one, your body is not tapped into the circadian rhythm because of artificial light that you have. You got your blinds closed. That's messing you up. I have my windows completely open, or I have natural sunlight. I wake up with the sun because the sun is sending information to my body to let me know what time it is. You know what I mean? To regulate my biological rhythm. So,
and what is the caffeine doing but stimulating?
Yeah.
Giving you that full sense of that electric, pulse and yeah.
Well, think about this. Human beings are driven by feeling. We're not driven by logic, right? So when a person thinks about drinking coffee, right, what ends up happening, they have a spike in their brain activity because they're thinking about what it's going to do for them. So now they're driven to go produce that feeling in real life. You know what I mean? That feeling is first experienced in the mind the same way we're driven for sex, because you're thinking about the pleasure that you're going to have. But if your brain is already stimulated and your body is already electrical, then the caffeine won't excite your brain because the activity is already high. So therefore, what it starts to do is kill the dependency of the caffeine because it's no longer exciting you, which means it's no longer driving you to produce that action. So when you drink the caffeine, it won't do anything for you because you say, wait a minute, my mind is already clear. What can this caffeine do for me? So now you found that in the 19th century, in the UK and throughout London, they used to use gold as a form of curbing alcoholism.
Right.
And
breaking
now
alcohol
you can use
dependency.
it for caffeine addiction. You understand me? Because most people are addicted to caffeine. It's actually one of the biggest sources of addiction on the planet Earth.
Right.
It's the most legal drug.
I ran into 3 individuals on separate occasions who have told me it also abated their dependency on nicotine. They stopped smoking. You feel me?
Yes. So the word I was looking
What,
for
you mean
was
from taking the gold?
Facts.
Yes. Myself had that experience. You understand
He
me?
ain't talking about smoking. He talking about
not
caffeine.
smoking. I wasn't
Right.
smoking. But yeah, I mean, and these are not things that we're telling people that it's going to do. These are things
Not what
because,
it's advertised to do.
for one, everybody's body is different. So when you drink water, let's say you drink some cold water, you're supposed to be able to feel that water go down through your intestines. You understand me? But the lining of our intestines are filled with so much crap because of all the chemicals and all the junk that we've been eating. You won't be able to feel that. So the water never touches your intestines, right? So your absorption is not the same. You understand me? When your body is not clean. So I always tell people, don't make the gold work for you. You have to work for the gold. You understand me?
Okay.
You have to cleanse your body so that the minerals can actually be absorbed within your body to electrify your system, because you have that rusty piping system inside yourself. So you should be eating plant-based foods so that if the gold is a superconductor, then it needs electricity to conduct in the first place. You understand me? You have to drink water because water is a conductor of electricity. So you have to do these things so that you can now experience what the gold can do for your body when you increase the amount of gold within your body.
The fullness of it.
Yes, gold is a warm element. Drinking it in the cold, you're talking about having that thermogenesis effect as you move. You understand me? You're talking about mood regulation. You're talking about hand-eye coordination, because when your body is more electrical, these things are more connected. You understand me? You're talking about having those neurons fire.
And like he said, the key part of it is the hippocampus. Shout out to the priesthood. Minister Drew always speaks about the hippocampus. We're talking about memory.
Yes, sir.
Right? And this particular item helps with mental acuity,
yes, sir,
clarity, focus, like he said.
I be tapped in when I work out.
And in that, this particular product, coupled with our new product, which specifically speaks to mental acuity, concentration, and focus, right? This product is called crownzoil. So this is CBD combined with lion's mane. Do the research, family. Deep dive.
Yes.
Go into it. I challenge you. Okay? Go research lion's mane mushroom. All right? We got another one.
Yeah, and the properties that one really have are not just exclusive to the brain, but what it does to the brain is very important. When you're talking about brain regenerating brain cells, when you're talking about even the causes that affect Alzheimer's, when they did studying with the rats and the mouses, they found out they found out that it stops that process that causes Alzheimer's. Now, they never said it reverses Alzheimer's, but the process that causes it. So The reason that we actually did the crownzoil in the first place is because a business partner I was working with, he was taking the Adderall consistently because he's a stock trader, millionaire. But he wanted something that was of a natural supplement so he can get off the Adderall, which is chemicals. He wanted something from nature. So the actual lion's mane is one that it looks like a cauliflower and it looks like a hanging glacier, and it's of the genus family. It's a Heraceium Ericeum if you look it up. That's the actual scientific name. So when you start to study lion's mane, you find all these properties that when you start to intake it, it's a neurotropic for the brain to increase brain function. Now, I've always been personally obsessed with the idea of using more percentages of my brain and tapping into that power, which is the reason I started to get into products that directly affect the hippocampus area of your brain that regulates mood, memory, and learning. Because a lot of it is retention of information and trying to learn new information so that it actually connects and sticks. You understand me? Because a lot of people read so much, but they can't connect those dots. So I wanted properties to where I'm not just teaching people, but I'm putting something inside them that allows them to retain that information so that it can use it for better decision making.
Absorption.
Absolutely. So drinking the gold, let's just talk about the chemicals that we drink and the mentality that we have towards chemicals versus minerals. When we go eat a bag of chips, when we go eat some of these frozen foods inside these grocery stores, nobody is checking these chemicals and asking a doctor and asking a physician first. You're not going to the clerk and asking them.
You ain't asking the clerk or the supermarket owner. You know, what chemical? What's this 8-syllable chemical?
Exuberol 3 and all of these other chemicals. Nobody is doing this research. But when it comes to naturopathic medicine, when it comes to minerals, we are taught, because we have poor mentalities, that we over audit assets and we under audit liabilities. Because we know the liabilities that we're going to spend our money on is not going to give us no return on our investment at all. So if we go to the club, you understand, we're not expecting a return besides what, possibly sex or something of that nature, which most things are marketed towards your ego because we know society is sex driven. We're marketing a product that makes you more responsible, not so that you can escape. You understand me? We talking about taking ownership over self. So once we get that mentality, be like, you know what, this is a mineral, let me try it, because minerals are the building blocks of life, instead of, you know what, I'll eat some Doritos and not know none of the chemicals they've been putting in for the last decades.
And you're breaking those chains as opposed to building those chains, but you don't have a problem with that.
Right. And you got to stop killing your family. You know, a lot of the food that you're eating at the dinner table is chemicals. And if you looked at your lifespan for the last decades and how many chemicals you ingested, it'll come up to a full pile of crap. You understand me? You would never ingest that all at once or willingly if you knew about it. You understand me? So the fact that we under-mineralize, we can't be full gods. You understand me? You have to tap in to the full building blocks of life and electrify yourself. You can't have thoughts to become a billionaire. See, a lot of those billionaires and millionaires, right, they may eat improper foods once they start off and they in that hustle mentality. But once they get to wealth, you start to see things change around them. They start to bring in naturopathic doctors.
You ain't never gonna find them in McDonald's.
People.
You know, outside of
Mayweather?
He ain't a billionaire. But I was saying, what's the Berkshire Hathaway dude?
But is he doing that while he's training?
Warren Buffett. Yeah,
and I think Warren Buffett capping, man. I think Warren Buffett capping to humanize himself and make himself more relatable to the people. I think that's the same thing all of them billionaires do, because otherwise you have no relatability to this white man besides the fact that they say he live in the same house and he eats McDonald's. I mean, that's great PR.
I have a friend of mine who cooks for the Rockefellers. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a question. They do not eat what normal, quote-unquote, regular people eat. They have a garden, and they eat all organic. You dig what I'm saying?
And that man is invested into McDonald's as well.
Right.
So him talking about McDonald's, of course.
You feel me? So, you know, people are going to make the comparisons to say, oh, these billionaires are monsters. We don't care what they eat. You know, but we're talking about the mental acuity, because they control they control the world through their mind. You know what I mean? It's all mental.
Yes, sir.
So those are the things that they utilize to make sure that their mental is sharp, right? In order to run the world, you got to have focus and clarity, and you have to be able to, in order to think 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years into the future, you dig what I'm saying? Like, some things have to be working upstairs.
Now, so, Blue, is this the Goldwater? Is this the same as the monatomic gold Blair used to talk about for years?
These are colloidals. Yeah, we have
Colloidals
monatomics.
and
We have monatomics, and we have colloidals.
No, I'm just saying, using these big words, people might not know the difference between monatomic and colloidal.
The difference between monatomic and colloidals are particle sizes, and the particle sizes is based on the emphasis of the absorption rate of this particular mineral. How the mineral is going to be absorbed by the cell is dependent or reliant upon that particular molecule size. You dig what I'm saying? So it's just different molecular structures, but in actuality they both do the same thing.
Correct.
Indeed. So as far as the gold, does this affect, like, you know, there's different body types, blood types, does it affect everybody the same? You know, man, woman, young, old, is everybody gonna have the same effect from this gold, liquid gold?
Through my research, based on my clients, I have clients from 8 months old to 88.
Pregnant.
8 to 80, blind, crippling, crazy.
Blind, crippling, crazy, and I have had positive response and feedbacks from everyone.
That's what's up.
There's nothing
there has
technically
been no
about it, right?
Adverse effects.
There's no scientifically adverse effects. So pregnant women are always asking us.
My sister
his sister's pregnant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, his sister was pregnant. She gave birth
to a gold baby.
To a gold baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and there are other young women who have taken this product, you know, whilst being pregnant and have had no adverse effects. So no, this is not something that would adversely affect anybody based on their blood type or age.
Brother. We born with gold in us, so it's not a foreign element to our body.
It's not foreign.
So it affects human beings in that manner. You know what I mean? The same, because we already have it in us. We're just increasing the amount of that element, and we need the increased amount because of how our bodies and the diets that we actually intake today.
Yeah, we're stripping our body,
understand me?
Demineralizing our bodies, not even giving our bodies the opportunity to use that small amount that we're born with, because we're depleting ourselves.
We about need 10% with these rusty bodies we got. I mean, my name comes from Maswar Muhammad talking about the 17 million rusty lock, or the 19 million rusty lock mines, and decalcifying those rusty lock mines through that pineal gland is enlightening the people, because it's restoring light back into the body, because we have biophotonic energy within the body. So it's important that we electrify ourselves, you understand me, and we raise that heat within our body and that motion and that electricity, so we can get back to God body. You understand me? Indeed. Otherwise, as you're over chemicalized, there are certain thoughts that will not stir in your mind. You understand me? A body that's over chemicalized changes your mood. It changes the type of thoughts you have. A lot of people end up with depressing thoughts or suicidal thoughts because of the chemical structures of these foods.
And that's a fact. And let's just talk about that, right? Because the whole world gets mesmerized and any feelings and in all of these phases of mourning when our young men, you know, unfortunately are losing their lives because of over criminalization of their bodies
and committing crimes.
Right, and what are they telling you? And committing crimes. These brothers are filling up, you know, these penitentiaries and saying, man, I was blacked out. I don't know what I did. Right, and other young men talking about they feeling suicidal and displaced and not of themselves and inside of that. All of that is based on chemicals. I would even dare to say even this uptick of people who are being born in bodies that they don't feel like is their own. What do you think that's the result of?
Yes.
What you think that's the result of?
Chemicalization.
That's chemicalization, where a person is born in a body they don't think it's own, and now they want to alter their physical appearance. Right?
When you change the chemical structure of something, you change the effect that it has. It's the same thing with weed. When you smoke weed, you change the chemical structure of the weed with the THC. So now you're changing the effect that it has. Because when we talk about the CBD, we have cannabinoids within our body. You understand me? And when you start to research that and you understand that these are where the health effects actually come from. You understand me? Most people talk about smoking the weed, but it's the actual CBD that doesn't have the psychoactive effects.
They love talking about how weed is so medicinal, but once you isolate the medicine, then they don't want to focus on that. They're addicted to the smoke. They're not addicted to the medicinal aspects of it, why these niggas need to medicate themselves so much. You need some therapy or a hug.
When you talk about the trauma that's traveled through the epigenetics within our body that's handed down throughout generations, our bodies have to be restored. We can't afford psychoactive effects, and we already have triggering trauma every single day. So we have to be able to have a defense system with our body being in its greatest state possible to even be able to deal with reality, because mental health happens in a city, not within nature. That's where you find mental health progressive, because everything around us is not feeding us information to tell our bodies what to do. You understand me? The hue of nature, that green hue. You understand me? The colors of the flowers. You understand me? The solar deficiency. All of these things are killing our bodies. So now our bodies is going crazy because of the overstimulation of the cars, of the sounds of man machinations. You can't even go into the deeper recesses of your own thinking to hear your thoughts because of overstimulation, and you have to constantly fight these things. That's why autistic children can't deal with reality, because it's too much stimulation always going on.
Coupled by the fact that you live in a concrete jungle. So your bottom of your foot is never touching the ground.
Never grounded.
Right? Never grounded. You live 2 inches off earth your entire life. You're living in a concrete bowl, you know, being subject to all of these signals and symbols and everything else is going on. My mind, right, is registering all of the architecture around me, right? So that's getting into geomancy. If the architecture is off, then all of the signals or what is translating to my subconscious is off.
Yes.
You feel me?
It's mostly square. Nature doesn't create straight lines. So the design that we live in, we're living in the white man's mind when you look around. You understand me? When you go to Africa, there's broad colors everywhere.
It's colors.
The architecture is different.
Things are oval shaped.
Yes.
You dig what I'm saying? Everything is not 90-degree angles. So we have to be cognizant of all of this if you're talking about health, if you're talking about, rising up to your highest potentiality, right? Or even being free. And this might be controversial, but like I said, I tell people I get downloads, right? My higher mind is my big homie. So just last night when I was dreaming, higher mind sent me a signal, and sometimes it would send me pictures. It'd be like, yo, make this meme. This is gonna really tick the people off and get under their skin, but it's gonna cause a conversation that you need to have. And it was gonna say, in slavery, and the image would be, a melanated man who was of a stock and a stature that would be considered looking like it was quote unquote healthy. Yeah. And it would say freedom, and then you'll have an image of somebody that's 400 pounds.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So if you are given the discretions and the quote unquote freedom to be yourself, look what you have turned out. But when you were being regulated and told what to do and how to eat and when to eat, you feel me? Then you were looking a particular way that you consider to be the in your own mind, the epitome of health. That's kind of crazy.
That's unhealthy, though.
That's unhealthy. So being afforded this level of quote unquote freedom, right? You have to be able to bring along with that the discipline enough to say, look, just because I have access to all of this food don't mean I got to eat all of this food.
So listen to this, right? In prison, the brothers are big, they stocky, but when they get out, they got to detoxify their bodies. Right. You understand me? Most of that is nothing but chemicals.
It's called cellular inflammation.
And what this
when you look at these dudes that are super stocky, right? It's called cellular inflammation.
And it actually causes the criminal behavior as well. You understand me? Food is connected to criminality.
Yeah, they're actually starving. Their cells are actually starving as opposed to being super, fulfilled or what have you. And that causes cellular inflammation.
So they be in survival mode because your body doesn't have everything it needs. But when your body has all the minerals and building blocks that it needs, it's not in survival mode. It doesn't cause this disruption of mood to where now more people are angry. You angry and don't even know why because it's the food that you're eating. You being triggered and don't even know why because of food. You understand me? So when a person
they got that word
eating,
hangry. You know the word hangry?
Hangry.
Yeah.
Hangries.
A brother don't even know why. He mad at you, don't know that it's a disruption in his hormonal system.
Hence the fact, I'll give you 2 examples. When you're incarcerated, they're going to feed you something called saltpeter. right? And the saltpeter makes you limb and very docile. And for the live wires, A.A. Rashid dropped this in one of the last lectures we did. For the live wires, the dudes that they can't control, they'll feed you lettuce and celery and slow all of that down. Sit your ass down somewhere, right? Totally turn you into a whole different entity. You dig what I'm saying? All of that is regulated.
Just from lettuce and celery.
Yeah, just from changing your whole chemical
disposition
based on food. They can alter you. Right?
They was
feeding them, like I said, they was feeding them the saltpeter in the penitentiary, and that's to make your pita go soft. To slow down the sexual aggression that was taking place in there, which is also a direct result of them brothers being over chemicalized.
Absolutely. There was a study where they were torturing the prisoners through soy. So everything that they eating had soy in it. Every single thing. And the prisoners were having all of these different adverse effects. And it was considered to be torture to do that because of the over absorption rate of soy that they had in their body was mismanaging the estrogen and the testosterone. So these brothers were having all of these issues and effects, and then they pulled in a program because the doctors had found out about it, and when they took away the soy, the criminal rates inside the prison went all the way down. You understand me? But when your brain is disrupted from its balance, your body is born in its corrective state. So when you disrupt that corrective state, it has all sort of side effects.
Right.
So we don't think about even the gut brain that we have in here. You understand me? If you're not feeding it here, because this is what's signaling the brain. So it's a direct correlation between your gut and your actual brain. So when you're not getting the correct information in here, then of course you're not signaling the correct thoughts in here. So that God has to be fed that light that signals the brain to produce the right thoughts. You understand me? Otherwise you're going to be having negative thoughts because you're of a lower vibration. So you have to have the electricity to even have that higher vibration so you can have higher thoughts. You're not going to be thinking about changing the world and you're eating, hog feet. It's not the same vibration.
You know what? That sounds good, but I know a lot of scumbag vegans, and me and Blue know a couple in particular. So I'm trying to figure out the connection between the gut and the brain if you're eating healthy, but yet still have these criminal or these low-level, low-vibrational thoughts.
We didn't say the food makes you righteous. That's a difference. If you're an immoral person, then regardless, you're just going to have a great body to do immoral things.
Great.
So you also have to feed the mind the truth. Truth is an electrical signal that excites the brain. When you hear new information, you get excited. There's a spike of electrical activity that starts to happen. What is knowledge? Knowledge is electricity. Because in the brain, it's just an electrical signal. I have given you nothing but words and vibrations. Mantras are vibrations. So affirmations are vibrations. So you're trying to literally vibrate higher. So what I'm sending to you is sounds and vibrations so that your brain can have electrical activity that vibrates higher.
Right.
But if you have negative thoughts, you're going to be of negative vibrations. So even if you're feeding your body the correct information, right? The food also has to be feeding you the correct information at the same time. So it has to be holistic.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't get to a holistic. Your environment has to be correct. The food that you eat has to be correct. The knowledge that you eat has to be correct. It didn't even increases when you know what you're intaking, like how we talking about the gold, and the ancient Egyptians used to take the gold and they believed that within a 9-month period you become a god after that. And you think about 9-month period is rebirth. You understand me? Because that's the time that it takes to create a baby.
Right.
Once you hear information like that and then you take the product coupled with the knowledge, it stimulates the effect that it has, because now you are also creating an effect to where your body is telling you what's going to happen. So it creates an expectation. So you have to feed your body and your mind all at the same time. You got a lot of people who get high science, but they eat low vibrational food. So they can't even take those thoughts and imprint them into reality. They can't utilize their willpower. Part of masculinity is being able to take your thoughts and impregnate and birth them and bring them out into the world. If you got thoughts in here, you can't bring them out, there's something of an imbalance within your body. So no, you can't just get high caliber knowledge, high electrical knowledge, and not eat high electrical foods. You understand me?
What about people that eat off of gold plates, and you hear the term silver spoon? Is there a particular science with that?
Yes, there is. before they created antibiotics, which was like, I believe in about the 1930s, give or take, they would utilize silver, right, to kill germs, because silver is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. So the thing that the rich were doing is they were putting sterling silver, 99.9% silver, in the mouths of their children to kill the germs. I mean, that's the science of it.
Yes.
Silver has always been utilized to kill germs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Gold has always been utilized to what? To raise the conductivity of whatever said object was being placed on that plate, so a person can now take that absorption of that particular high frequency and ingest it.
So you said something important there. Because if gold raises the frequency of the electricity, whatever thoughts you have will also be raised as well. You understand me? Meaning that if you having negative thoughts and you increase that electricity within yourself, it's going to increase those negative thoughts into your reality. So you also have to be careful of what's inside your mind. Because whatever within the mind, they always say that's what the hands and the body will produce. You know what's inside a man's head based on what his hands produce and what his hands does. You understand me? So it's not just enough that you take something that electrifies your body. You should be reading information and absorbing knowledge, because then you're going to be manifesting those thoughts and attracting those at a hyper rate. So you have to be careful of the things that you ingest to increase your vibrations if you're not ingesting those same things to change the rhythm of your thoughts and then what you're going to attract and what you're going to repel within your universe.
You know, I always like sharing my testimony with the people. You know, when I find a product that's good, you know, I like to give the product props. And I remember when me and Blue did that epic video, and I told the people, like, I remember me and Blue was about to do a video, 90 Keys. I like saying this over and over. And I couldn't even do it because I had a migraine so bad. And Blue was like, yo, people told me to get rid of headaches. Took it, got rid of the headache. I would say no longer than 60 seconds. So me myself, I never had a product work at that rate that fast, bro.
Facts.
So that was something that was just mind-boggling to me. I was like, yo, Blue, what the fuck is this? I was like, yo, it really worked. So I mean,
and I thank you for that, because as a result, you have been able to vicariously help hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
Yes, sir.
You know, because migraines is $1 billion industry. This is something that science has not been able to, you know, successfully interrupt. And there are a lot of chemicals that they have created to address and attack this particular issue.
Yes, sir.
Inflammation is at the cause of that. It's at the root of that. You dig what I'm saying? Science is not taking the same approach. The medical establishment, I hope that I don't upset my political connects, you know what I'm saying? But they're not looking at it and taking a holistic approach, right? We took a holistic approach and just gave the body what it needs, which is minerals, no chemicals.
Now, I was in Jamaica.
Like you said, in under 60 seconds, it took care of what it needed to.
I was in Jamaica and I got bit by one of them mosquitoes and it set me down. I was sick.
Damn.
I had a migraine that was the worst migraine of my entire life. It was pounding. I could not go to sleep. And I had end up fasting and, you know, end up getting rid of it. But the side effect, the symptom of the migraine, when I first took that Goldwater, because I forgot that I was so messed up. I'm just in bed, you know what I mean? I'm forgetting about Goldwater, I'm forgetting about everything. New World Order, everything just disappeared. I'm sitting in there just trying to rest, hoping that it disappear once I go to sleep. But I wake up, brain still pounded. So then I remember, because I thought I was out, I shook one of the bottles. I said, oh, it's something left in here. Now, once I took it, this word is bond to a lie. I get my word before my word shall fail. That migraine went away. In those 60 seconds that you talked about, I promise you, I was still sick from some of the other side effects and the symptoms, but the migraine was gone. You understand me? And
all praises due.
It was the best thing because I only had a little bit left. And somebody else that I was with, they were sick as well. But I took all of it, so I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them that, oh, I took the gold, my migraine went away, because I didn't want to start bragging, and I ain't had nothing to give them. Right. But I can bear witness to it, because even when I got off the plane, I had a little headache. I took some, because sometimes I be forgetting, like, oh yeah, and that was because of what you said when you talked about the migraine. That's why I like to hear other people's testimonies. Because I was like, oh, let me try the gold. that gold knocked it out. You understand me? So those anti-inflammatory properties that have been scientifically proven that you can go research yourself about that gold is very important, because a lot of people don't know that their symptoms are side effects. You understand me? That they're having, like the headache, you got to get to the root and then you destroy the symptoms. The medicine only covers when you go get pharmaceutical medicine, it only stops the symptom and doesn't stop the root cause of that condition.
It abates it.
Yes.
It doesn't get to the root of it.
So it's very important, man. I want everybody to mineralize yourself. So we also have the sea moss, which is 92 minerals, the gold, which is another mineral. So we got the 93 packs that you can take to build up the life of your families.
Indeed. And, you know, it's also worth noting that, you know, we're standing on sacred ground. You know, we're standing on...
And we got some brothers around us.
Yeah. We got...
Let's get y'all in the frame, man.
Yeah. We got
let's
the families out here.
Hold on, you want to switch around over here?
Very frigid weather, but you know the family came out to support us nonetheless.
Yes.
Shout out to the good brothers.
Brother said he about to get some of his Goldwater.
Yes, indeed.
Heard
so
enough.
you know, a few paces away, you know, a little while right down there is where we had the Ushul Herbal Research Institute, right? Dr. Sebi and my mother and my aunt did all of their healing work right where the Barclays Center is standing at right now.
Speaking of Dr. Sebi, I watched the video of Dr. Sebi. Yes. 4 years ago, I got introduced into the gold. Just like I said, I wanted to know about the neurological effects that it can have, you know, within my brain. And I heard him talk about two different things that I heard him talk about that connected the dots. One was he talked about how gold can be absorbed because it's a mineral. It can be absorbed through the soil because it's within the soil, so it can be absorbed through the plants. So when you eat the plant, you eat the mineral, that gold. You know what I mean? Gold, plant-based food is electrical. Right? So I heard him talk about that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting as hell. You understand me? And then I heard him talk about how the way you build muscles is through the brain. That's where you get your real strength from. Because what he say is that the brain powers up the muscles. So you have to have that electrical activity within your brain to power up your muscles.
Hence the fact we had a conversation with somebody last night who was telling us about some breakthrough new technology they had where they can take electrical impulses and grow your muscles. You don't got to work out no more. Did they not just have this conversation with us?
My brother, if you look at one of them huge tractors and you put a low voltage battery in there, it's not going to move a damn thing. You understand me? So it has to have the correct voltage in the body to be able to utilize the body correctly. Now you have to understand that the mind is limitless, right? The brain is basically limitless, but the body has to be able to catch up to what the brain can do. So you can tell yourself to run 100 miles per hour because your brain is already ready. Once you condition your body to be able to do it. So your brain can send signals to your body to do things that your body that you can't even fathom yet. But you have to condition your body into the right state so it can do the things that the mind is capable of. So both your mind and body has to be ready to work in sync. So when you increase the electrical activity in your brain and you're eating the right foods and you're conditioning yourself, because when I work out, because of the anti-inflammatory properties, it feels like I can never get tired when I'm working out, and it starts to get boring, and then I have to start challenging myself to go into higher conditioning rates so that I can have that negative effect and make me feel the pressure.
So muscle building, it goes down like he said. This is to the cellular level. It takes minus 25 millivolts for your cells to operate, but minus 50 millivolts for you to make new cells. So everything is voltage. You need a excess of voltage available in your body to increase or to regenerate, for cellular regeneration. And that is what we're talking about with the goal. Increase the voltage in your body, increase the electrical conductivity in your body, so you can create a new version of yourself.
Yes, it's the reason you drink water with certain pH levels, because of the electricity. You understand me? Alkalizing your body and things of that nature. So get down to the science. I always tell people, look, if we eat food, we should know the science of food. If we're 70-90% water, we should know the science of water. You understand me? If minerals are the building blocks of life, then we should know the science of the minerals. But we are studying things that have nothing to do with us increasing our lifespan, expanding our life and our consciousness while we are alive. So you should study the things that you intake on a daily basis so that you can increase the experience that you even have within life. I always hear this thought pattern. people say, well, you only live once. Well, if you only live once, then you should have the best life possible.
Facts.
You understand me? It should not be the opposite. I only live once. You understand me? So let me not take care of this life.
This should be the blowout.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you really, really knew what life was about, man, you would appreciate this experience so much. I love life so much.
If you
dig
knew
what
how
I'm
great
saying?
you could feel
Yeah.
by mineralizing your body and the type of energy that you can have, how light you would feel when you detoxify your system from all of these chemicals. And also, you just don't know the effect of all these chemicals going to have in your body from a 20, 30 year span when these scientists start to break down the effects of these mutated cancers. You understand me? So scientists have actually been, on the closing point, scientists have been utilizing gold in cancer medicine and in tumor medicine. You understand
Not
me?
only that, yes. They had an article out that came out initially in the 80s.
Yes.
They have returned with this information based on their research of the impending dangers of 5G. It said what? Gold blocks radiation on a cellular level.
Yes.
So now they're looking to gold, right, as the next thing in the medical field with the onslaught of radiation coming by way of 5G. So once again, you know, we're about 2 steps ahead of the game. You dig what I'm saying?
Leave your contact info,
Man, so you can go to,
get some of that. Get some of that.
We're on IG at Goldwater. That's gold spelled with an E. That E stands for elixir, stands for energy.
And electricity.
So this is that electricity, that gold E water. So you go to goldewater.com.
goldewater.com.
If you follow either one of our IGs, you can go to link in the bio. I am 19 Keys. You follow me in 19 days. I don't change and electrify your life. Unfollow me, man. Make sure you get tapped into the gold, man. And don't just keep it as a secret. Put your family on.
Yes, indeed. Gold, water, crownzoil.
Yes, sir.
The 93 pack for that CMOS. All right, our mission, like I said, in alignment with where we're standing on sacred ground, is to continue the mineralization of this planet. You dig what I'm saying? And next year, we're going to be tackling the dehydration as well. All right? Peace, love, and light. Shout out to all of the healers out there doing the good work, doing the Lord's work. I love you. Peace.
Tap in.